We've all jumped at a sudden, loud noise, a car backfiring, maybe a dish smashing on the floor. It happens. But for some people, that initial jump is just the beginning of something way more intense. Today, we're going to dive into the fear of loud noises and figure out what's really going on inside our minds and bodies when that fear takes over.
Okay, picture a birthday party, right? You've got balloons, laughter, cake, and then pop. For most of us, it's a split-second jolt, little surprise, and then we just move on. But what if that simple sound felt like a real, actual threat? Well, that intense reaction has a name, Ligyrophobia, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So what exactly is Ligyrophobia? Well, it's way more than just being startled. The key words here are intense and irrational. The reaction is totally out of proportion to any real danger. It's like your brain's alarm system, that whole fight-or-flight response, is getting set off by things that aren't actually a threat. Stuff like fireworks, a clap of thunder, or a car alarm going off.
But where does a fear this specific, this powerful, even come from? It's not just random. The roots of ligyrophobia are often buried in experiences that are, when you look at them, pretty common and understandable.
Yeah, there are a few different paths that can lead here. For some, it might be a single traumatic event that basically rewires the brain, creating a permanent link between loud sounds and a feeling of danger. For others, it could just be a natural heightened sensitivity to sound. Sometimes it's a childhood fear that just never got outgrown. And in other cases, it's not really a standalone issue, but a symptom of a deeper underlying anxiety.
Okay, so understanding the why is one thing, but what does it actually feel like to live with ligyrophobia day in and day out? This isn't just some small inconvenience. It can totally reshape a person's life and how they see the world around them.
Just think about the difference here. For most of us, a sudden noise is a quick jump, a whoa, and then it's over. But for someone with ligyrophobia, that's just the start. It can trigger this crushing wave of anxiety, sometimes even a full-blown panic attack, with very real physical stuff like a racing heart or shaking hands. And then comes what's called anticipatory fear, this constant, exhausting dread of when and where the next sound might happen.
And that anticipatory fear can completely shrink someone's world. I mean, imagine avoiding celebrations like New Year's Eve or the 4th of July because of fireworks, or feeling this constant, buzzing anxiety just walking through a busy city. Simple social events suddenly become minefields of potential triggers. Over time, all that avoidance can lead to this really profound and painful feeling of being isolated.
But here's the most important part of this whole story. This fear does not have to be a life sentence. As severe as the impact is, there are really clear, effective ways to manage it and get back that sense of peace and control. So, what does that path to recovery actually look like? The journey usually involves 3 key steps. First up is therapy, especially something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's this really powerful tool that helps people learn to challenge and change those negative thoughts tied to loud noises. Next, there's sound desensitization, which is all about slowly and safely building up a tolerance to those trigger sounds in a really controlled way. And finally, it's about learning practical coping skills like relaxation and breathing techniques, so you have tools to manage anxiety right in the moment.
And really, the biggest takeaway here is one of hope. Recovery is absolutely possible. With the right support, with professional guidance, and a clear plan, people can learn to manage this fear, shrink its power over their lives, and just feel more comfortable and fulfilled.
So, we've just taken a deep dive into one very specific fear, but it brings up a much bigger question, doesn't it? When you see how deeply something like this can affect a person, it's a pretty powerful reminder to ask ourselves, what other common human experiences are we overlooking? What else out there deserves a little more of our empathy and our understanding?